everyone, it's me Adriana Azwa over here and welcome back to another episode of What's Up 6.0. So today we will be talking about an ancient Chinese tradition that you might have heard about but probably haven't seen in action, which is food binding. Well, it's actually a practice that's both fascinating and a little painful to imagine. So let's dive into the world of golden lotus feet. Foot binding began over 1,000 years ago during the Song Dynasty around the 10th century, and the idea was that tiny feet were the ultimate beauty standard for women. If you could get your feet down to 3 or 4 inches, yes, inches, you would have what were called golden lotus feet, which were seen as a symbol of grace, elegance, and high social standing. So, how did they achieve this? Here is where it gets intense. Starting as young as 5 or 6 years old, girls' feet would be tightly wrapped with cloth, and the goal was to reshape the foot entirely, which involved breaking the toes and arch, then binding them to heel in a folded position. This was a very long, painful process that could take years to complete, but to many families, this was seen as a way of securing a better future for their own daughters. Back then, having bound feet was almost like having a degree from a prestigious school. It was a social advantage. Small feet were seen as elegant, and women with lotus feet were considered more marriageable, especially to wealthy families. So, despite the pain, many families saw it as worth the sacrifice. Unfortunately, not everyone agreed with the practice. In the 19th and 20th centuries, as China began modernizing, more people criticized foot binding as an outdated and harmful tradition. And eventually, by the early 19th, reform movements started pushing to end it. In 1912, after the fall of the Qing dynasty, the practice was officially banned. And by the 1950s, it had largely disappeared as people started to recognize the health risks and cultural shifts led to a new idea of beauty. Today, foot binding remains a reminder of how powerful cultural ideas can be and how they can affect people's life in an extreme way. So, next time you think about beauty trends, remember that standards change, but it's always best to value health and well-being first. So thanks for watching, and I hope you found this dive into history as fascinating as I did. See you guys around next time in another episode of What's Up 6.0. Bye-bye!